Good evening. You're listening to Adrenaline Radio, 1680 on your AM dial. My name is Fred Blanchard. I'm your host for Adrenaline Motorsports. And we returned on Saturday, and the weather was a little bit different. We had, with a dry lake situation, you have breezes blowing periodically, and sometimes you have static air, which no breeze blows at all. And if a car drives across the lake bed, you have a dust cloud, and you can't see from one end to the other. And that was the actual situation as I drove onto the lake bed first thing in the morning, which was around 7:30 in the morning. But as we reached the starting line, things started to clear up, and we could see that they were starting to run cars. And I park up near the front where we can go and walk around and visit and see the cars that are there, that are the cars that have not run before or new for the year or new engine or new concept or trying to set a record of some kind. And I was very fortunate to run into a few friends of mine. One was the gentleman that runs out of the San Diego Roaster Club. His name is Jim Dinko, and his son. They had a street roadster they were running, and they had a 4-cylinder engine that was designed and built by a fellow by the name of Joe Fontana. And it was a little 4-cylinder pushrod motor, and they were trying a new part on the car, and they had to do, when they were at inspection, they had to be in the car. Then they were told to get out of the car in a rapid manner, and because they had a new cover that kept the driver contained in the car, but it was also a wind deflector, and they used that, and they actually were very fortunate. They ran several runs, and they set a record there at El Mirage, so I was happy for those folks. Jim Dinko is well deserving of that. He has been running the dry lakes in Bonneville since 1964, and this is a project that he has put together with his son. But he's also involved in another vehicle that runs Bonneville only, and his partner there is a Ken Logan, and they've been running this car for quite a few years. And it has a unique engine. It has a John Rodak-style engine block with a set of Arius heads on it, and a what they call a air compressor, which was a PSI screw charger. And they're preparing that vehicle for Bonneville this year, so I had a chance to talk to them about the project. And I met several others. I met the Lefevre family, which Mike Lefevre is the owner of MyTech Race Engines. And Mike had his 2 sons out there, and Ryan is the oldest, and he was trying to get his driver's license. And Kevin is the youngest. However, he's been driving this particular car. It's called a modified roadster, a little different configuration, very low profile. And that particular vehicle has a NASCAR Dodge engine in it. It's a small displacement. I think it's 360 cubic inches, if I'm not mistaken. And the record for that class is 208 miles an hour there at the Dry Lakes. And they made a test run on Saturday and felt they could get close to that, and then they would put Ryan in the car for his first run for his driver's license. And on Sunday they went out and they ran 106 miles an hour, a little stronger than that, but they did very well, so they're real close to the record. And one of the other vehicles that I encountered was a gentleman who purchased product from Arius Industries. The Arius product we sold to a gentleman by Harris Trucking. His name is Bill Harris, and he has a Camaro that he put this engine in. And when we sold him the package, we had no idea that he was going to be putting it in a race car and wanting to go racing with it. And when he had brought the car out, he's running it on race gas. And when I last saw him, he was in an impound area, meaning to me that he must have set the record. I didn't have a chance to go speak with him at the time, but it looked like he had gotten right on his record. So he's done quite well with that car and done extremely a lot of research and development to move it forward. And this is what they do over the summer and winter months, rather, is that they get out there and they go and test their engines and test the product. They'll do cylinder head flow and see how much air when the valves are open will travel through the ports in the cylinder head. And these are the kind of things that are done with the performance engines, but these are nowhere near what you find in the top of the line racing, such as Top Fuel Drag Racing or Indianapolis Racing or anything like that. Those engines are a little more pricey, and dry lakes racing is more of an amateur sport, and that's why everybody wants to attend this type of an event, because you can actually create something and you can actually run it yourself. I would say that if anybody has interest in something like this, you can get on your computer and type in SCTA, which is Southern California Timing Association, and they have a nice website, and on that website, a lot of the things that pop up there there's information on Bonneville, information on the dry lakes, what dry lakes is all about, the 12 different clubs that you can be a member of, and things of this type that to kind of give you an idea. For example, if you've got a vehicle there that you want to see its capability and you have a little bit of mechanical know-how, you can certainly talk to those who are out there at the dry lakes and learn about the tires and wheels that are necessary to have on those vehicles to go do what you want to do as far as speed is concerned. But to run El Mirage, it's a good idea to belong to a club, as I've mentioned before. And there's a variety of them throughout the city of Los Angeles and even outside the city of Los Angeles. As I mentioned before, you have the San Diego Roadster Club, which is obviously in San Diego. You have the Gold Coast Roadster Club, which is up in I would say the Buellton area, or beyond that, I would say. But there's a lot of members that are from out of state, as a matter of fact, and a lot of these clubs accept those members because they do want to run a car. And the car may be here, or they'll bring the car. We had a gentleman out here at the Dry Lakes this weekend that they're from Texas. So the car apparently is here being serviced, but they're here to run the lakes as well, and they do have events throughout the country. You have the East Coast Timing Association. You have the Texas Mile you can run. You've got a variety of other areas that I think they have even the Mojave Mile. There was another event down there held once a year, of course. So there are places to run cars, but El Mirage seems to be the best structured and will help you learn the ropes in regards to how to run your car safely. And if you have that what's called need for speed, you can certainly find out how to do it in a proper manner by attending one of these events and asking questions. And I find that the people who do this are very friendly and very willing to offer information. And that's pretty much how I got involved in it. And that was, I thought, was a blessing. And it's a little different than other types of racing where they won't talk to you because they're either too busy working and they have to meet a certain criteria or a certain deadline. And it's just not a friendly environment. I would say it's a highly competitive environment. And that's something that also is an extremely expensive part of it. But there's other sports, like I say, there's off-road racing that they go to the Baja 1000 as an example. There's another group of people that do something that's a little different. But there again, it's off-road. So those are the kind of things that are available out there. But dry lakes racing basically is the folks that I've been around, and I find that it's rewarding in a lot of ways. You establish a lot of relationship and good folks there. So that was pretty much my visit to El Mirage for the first event of the season. And we had a great time and talked to quite a few people who were there. And I would say that the season's going to be pretty good because quite a few records were set. The conditions of the dry lake was pretty good. The soil was pretty hard. As I mentioned, the rain had created a kind of a real kind of a muddy surface where the water was washed back and forth with the wind, and it kind of smoothed it out and gave a good surface for the beginning of the season. And we look forward to the coming month, which is June, And if everything is working well, we possibly may have that opportunity to run our vehicle there at that time, and we're making every effort to do so.